The Canaanite languages or Canaanite dialects are one of the two subgroups of the Northwest Semitic languages, the other being the Aramaic language. They are thought to have been spoken by the ancient peoples of the Canaan region. The Canaanites, broadly defined to include the Israelites, Phoenicians, Amorites, Ammonites, Moabites and Edomites. All of them seem to have become extinct as native languages by the early 1st millennium CE. Although distinct forms of Hebrew remained in continuous literary and religious use among Jews and Samaritans, and Punic remained in use in the Mediterranean. This family of languages has the distinction of being the first group of languages to use an alphabet, derived from the Proto-Canaanite alphabet, to record their writings. The primary reference for extra-biblical Canaanite inscriptions, together with Aramaic inscriptions, is the German language book Canaanite and Aramaische Inschriften, from which inscriptions are often referenced as Cayenne. Classification and sources. The Canaanite languages or dialects can be split into the following. Central Canaanite Phoenician. The main sources are a Hiram sarcophagus inscription, sarcophagus of Eshmunazar, the Tabnite sarcophagus, the Kilamuar inscription, the Sippi of Melkart, the other Biblian royal inscriptions. For later Punic, in Plautus Aplapo and Eulus at the beginning of the 5th Act. South Canaanite Hebrew, extinct dialect of the ancient Israelites. Literary, poetical, liturgical, also known as Classical Hebrew, the oldest form of the language attested in writing. The original pronunciation of Biblical Hebrew is accessible only through reconstruction. It may also include Ancient Samaritan Hebrew, an extinct dialect spoken by the ancient Samaritan Israelites. The main sources are the Hebrew Bible, and inscriptions such as Gezer Calendar, Kerbut Kafar pottery sherd. Ammonite, an extinct Hebraic dialect of the Ammonite people mentioned in the Bible. Moabite, an extinct Hebraic dialect of the Moabite people mentioned in the Bible. The main sources are the Mesha Stela and El Kerik Stela. Edomite, an extinct Hebraic dialect of the Edomite people mentioned in the Bible. North Canaanite Ugaritic, although the inclusion of this dialect within Canaanite is disputed. Other possible Canaanite languages. The Deir Allah inscription, written in a dialect with Aramaic and South Canaanite characteristics, which is classified as Canaanite in Hetzron, Ekronite or Philistine Semitic, not to be confused with the pre-Semitic Philistine language. It is attested by several dozen inscriptions in Phoenician script scattered along Israel's southwest coast. In particular the Ekron royal dedicatory inscription. Amorite. Comparison versus Aramaic. Some distinctive typological features of Canaanite in relation to Aramaic are the prefix h used as the definite article. This seems to be an innovation of Canaanite. The first-person pronoun being nk, versus Aramaic ny, which is similar to Akkadian, Ancient Egyptian and Berber. The asterisk a greater than O vowel shift. Descendants. Modern Hebrew is a spoken language as the result of a revival by Jews in the 19th and 20th centuries in an effort spearheaded by Eliezer ben Yehuda. It is currently spoken as the colloquial language by the majority of the Israeli population. Various liturgical Hebrew languages survived into the modern era. Tiberians Hebrew, Masoretic scholars living in the Jewish community of Tiberias in Palestine c. 750–950 CE. Mizrahi Hebrew, Mizrahi Jews, liturgical. Yemenite Hebrew, Yemenite Jews, liturgical. Sephardi Hebrew, Sephardi Jews, liturgical. Ashkenazi Hebrew, Ashkenazi Jews, liturgical. Mishnaic Hebrew, Jews, liturgical, rabbinical, any of the Hebrew dialects found in the Talmud. Medieval Hebrew, Jews, liturgical, poetical, rabbinical, scientific, literary, lingua franca based on Bible, Mishnah and neologisms forms created by translators and commentators. Haskalah Hebrew, Jews, scientific, literary and journalistic language based on biblical but enriched with neologisms created by writers and journalists, a transition to the later Samaritan, Hebrew, Samaritans, liturgical. The Phoenician and Carthaginian expansion spread the Phoenician language and its Punic dialect to the western Mediterranean for a time, but there too it died out, although it seems to have survived slightly longer than in Phoenicia itself. Bibliography. The Semitic languages. Rutledge Language Family Descriptions. Edited by Robert Hetzrown. New York. Rutledge, 1997. Garnier, Romain, Jacques, Guillaume. A Neglected Phonetic Law. The Assimilation of Pretonicure to a Following Coronal in Northwest Semitic. Bulletin of the School of Oriental and African Studies 75.1. 135–145. DOI 10.1017 per seconds 00419777 extension 11001261. Rensburg, Gary. Ancient Hebrew Phonology. Phonologies of Asia and Africa, including the Caucasus. Eisenbrauns. p. 65. ISBN 978-1-57506-019-4. Waltker, Bruce Gay, O'Connor. An Introduction to Biblical Hebrew Syntax. Winona Lake, Indiana. Eisenbrauns. ISBN 0-931464-31-5.